Hello everyone and welcome to the stream today. We are going to be hitting the ladder pretty hard. Probably just testing out one deck until either I decide I need to do something else or decide to do a little bit of drafting. Amonkhet has just released. There are some crazy new cards added to that block, so it's kind of fun seeing things like Anger the Gods show up. Pact of Negation, weird things. Yeah, Historics can be interesting going forward. But right now, I'm focusing on Standard, checking out how Mythic is going, playing a little deck here that is grindy AF, but a lot of fun. Honestly, casting Aerial Ultimatum is one of the most fun things you can do in Magic right now, in Standard at least. Not a ton of decks run counterspells, so usually it goes off when you cast it. A lot of times it just kind of ends the game. So, we're going to see how this goes. Have had a little bit of a rough patch, but that's okay. We're going to fight through it. And that's generally what happens when you're a Mythic anyway. We shall see where this leads us. Grindy AF indeed. This hand is slow, but we'll go ahead and keep. Ooh, yeah, depending, this might be too slow. Mono Red can have some crazy starts. Robber the Rich, yep. Did mulligan down, though, so that really helps. That's a card that won't help them. We're going to be playing the stall game. Oh, don't worry. I see you. I see you. Ooh, Kenrith, if we can live, that's really good. It's a big if, though, at this point. Hope everyone out there is enjoying their day. Over here, we're just hitting the start of a hot streak. Oh man, they're going wide. Okay. Well, this sucks, but we gotta do this. Just gonna get a couple dudes out of this. Next turn, if he draws an Embercleave, I'm just dead. Actually, with this Castle Embereth, I'm just dead regardless. Because we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 coming at me. Yep, that's game. It's okay, though. We have a ton of tools to interact with them. Almost too many. So we're going to go ahead and cut the ultimatums because they're way too slow for this matchup. Vraska doesn't really do anything. Blessings tend to hurt us a little bit too much. Accidentally cut something there. Cut the Cultivate. Cultivate's actually probably fine to cut, and we can go ahead and take out the Fiend Artisan. It's not going to do much this matchup. This deck, from my experience, has had a lot better time with Sultai that's kind of been grinding out there. I'd say it's pretty favorable, especially after board. Yeah, that's fine. Ideally, we want to get to this Massacre Girl. Stabilize. Ooh, they're mulliganing very heavily again. Yes, they are indeed treacherous blessings. Alright, so this Runaway Steamkin can get really out of control really fast. So as tempting as it is to play out something, I'm going to hold up this Mythos. Another Steamkin. We're gonna block there. Mythos here. Really, our whole goal in this matchup is to stall. That's pretty annoying. It's okay though, we're gonna eliminate this other Steamkin. We're just not gonna be taking damage. We'll take the one from the spitter, but otherwise, yeah. Darn, I was hoping we would find a land there to Massacre Girl the board, but no such luck. So we're just going to keep playing out Birth of Meletis, making walls, getting land, drawing cards, gaining life. Everything that Mono Red doesn't want to see. Ooh, Shatter. We're perfectly fine with this because we're going to be shattering anyway. Especially now that Thorbrand's out. No reason not to. Sadly, we're losing our walls. Is what it is. Thankfully, you won't draw any cards. And a spitter for the final card. Sweet. Give us a land, please. You're not a land. That's fine, though. Throw out a Glowspore. This Yorion. There's a land. At this point, about the only thing I'm worried about is a Robber the Rich, bringing him back a little bit, but yeah, there's nothing. Configuration seems fine. Is there anything else I want to cut? Ugin is real slow, but if we can get it online... we're gonna cut it, though. Don't want it sitting just in my hand dead. We'll grab a Solemn. Especially on the draw. We're already gonna be playing defensively behind anyway. Alright, we got life gain. It's one of the most important things here. Ooh, and more life gain. Excellent. Shatter, perfect. Keep it on top. My opponent can go as wide as he wants. Robber is a little bit annoying. That does take that Shatter. And he is never going to cast it. Temple Garden. Wow, he just hit another Shatter? No. He hit a land, okay. Okay, time to put the brakes on here. Whoa, buddy, I said brakes. Not gas, brakes. We need to play a tap land. Unfortunately, we do have to gain some life here. There's an argument to be made for not blocking here in Yorion. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. The only thing that kills us here is if he plays in Nevercleave. Yep. Well, yeah, that's the argument for blocking. Even so, we still would have been dead. There goes match number 1. Let's run it back. Pardon me for just a sec. So, strengths and weaknesses of this deck. I've noticed it definitely does a lot better against any of the Bant, Sultai, basically any of the decks that are running a Simic base. It has a pretty good game plan against it, especially after board. Aggressive decks are a little bit harder. They're, I'd say, close to that 50-50. I feel better against Sacrifice than I do against Mono Red. Then again, it also depends on the variant of Sacrifice. There's so many out there. Mono Green is interesting. At times, it can be kind of a toss-up. It also depends on how many questing beasts they see. All in all, though, this deck, you get to the late game with it, and you're in very good shape. This sets us very nicely for a Cavalier next turn. Definitely a big body. The green deck has a hard time getting through. We don't mind blocking here. I was going to say, definitely a problem card out of Mono Green. Primal Roar, Primal Might, whichever one it is, the X spell. Turns out it's really good green removal, which green definitely needs. Doesn't have... Green has gotten card draw, it's gotten the best creatures in the game, it's gotten everything else, but removal is the one thing that it still had issues with. If they gave green too much removal, it would be the only color anyone would ever play anymore. Alright, now that Scavenging Ooze is actually an issue, but we're just going to try and be bigger than it. Eventually we do have shatters too if we need to get around it. It's just really annoying because it screws up our game plan. Primal Might. There we go. That's the name of it. Ugh. And this lets him do this in response to the target, which is super annoying. So I'm going to target a card that I don't mind if he gets rid of, but helps me at the same time if he doesn't. So this won't grow it, which is fine. Ranger's Guile. Don't see that main deck. Interesting choice. Well, he's just gonna eat whatever I take, unfortunately. But this forces him to be proactive. If I just choose a land, there's no way he's even gonna spend the mana. Alright, sad robot, we've got some work to do. This is one of those decks that, even though he's eating everything in the yard, still an MTG Ultimatum off top would do a lot. Problem is we're drawing way too many land. Okay, we're gonna block there, we're gonna block... Do we throw it in there yet? No. Let's hold it back for the time being. We just want to draw the card, try and find gas. Shatter the Sky. That's what we're looking for. Yep. Play out your cards. Shatter followed by Cavalier is pretty good. He does get a draw card, unfortunately. But nothing we can do about that. I'm just happy to get rid of the Skoos. It has been causing nothing but problems. And then next turn... Actually, no, this turn. We can get this Yorion into hand. Next turn we'll be able to blink it. Hopefully take care of something with the Othakaya. Questing Beast, okay. Death Touch. Well, he did the smart thing and didn't attack. So we're going to Glow Spore, follow it up with the Yorion. Hope he decides to attack here at some point. Because if I block with my Cavalier, that's really going to be good in the long run. Yep, Eerie Ultimatum's in the yard now. So if I block with the Cavalier, it's real good for me. Not saying they just scoop, but they probably do. Come on, just attack. You know you want to. Otherwise, next turn I get to play my Poly K and start eating the Questing Beast, which is fine. Might have to take care of this Pelt Collector first, though. My deck is glowing. Whew. Charming Prince of the Orient. Okay. I think that's going to be happening. Let's lead off with this Poly K. Get rid of some land. Because we don't really want to be bringing those back. Do we have a second Fabled Passage? We have Temples. Fabled Passage. Triumph. Need duplicates. Birth of Meletus. And Eliminate's not coming back, so that's fine. So we have 7 mana to work with. We can go ahead and get rid of this Pelt Collector now. Then I think it's fine to Flavor the Yorion. Actually, we're going to do this. Incentivize the block with the Questing Beast. Oops. Forgot about the reach. My bad. Hunt count 1 for the day. In that case... Yeah, no, we're still gonna do this. So that allows us to kill the Questing Beast at least. And the Poly K is going to die from the Death Touch, so that forces the issue. So we could then just bring the Poly K back one more time. Rinse and repeat. Sadly, it can't touch the Stone Coils. Just thinking about what to do with this Giant Hydra. Vivian's pretty good. Okay. Problem is, eventually he's going to have to attack with that Stone Coil. Cavalier's just waiting for that. Alright, do we try to incentivize? Yep, let's go for it. Oh yeah, Poly K lives. Death Touch doesn't work in that situation. Always forget about those little things. Alright, so that thing is giant and has... yeah, let's go ahead and do this. It's giant and it has trample, which is part of the problem. Come on, friend, just block. That's all I want. You have to eventually anyway. There we go. Now he has exactly 1 turn to kill me. Yes, we're gonna do that. And we are going to try our hardest to not let him do that. 1, 2, 3. Elspeth Conquers Death is still good, so we want to keep that in there. Yep. Oh, we have multiple Oath of Kaias, so we can go ahead and get rid of that. Getting us up to 16 life here should be enough to stabilize us, so we can wait out the turn. We can kill whatever comes along with the Pelucranos. As I said, the long game for this deck just is incredible. Realizes the writing is on the wall. So, for this matchup, I'm bringing a Glass Casket, Baneslayer. Massacre Girl can be good. Can act as a board wipe from time to time. One could argue bringing in those since we saw the Planeswalkers and we know there's going to be more in there. Elspeth Conquers Death is okay against certain things. It kills Questing Beast, it kills Ceratops if they're playing with which there is a good chance they're playing Ceratops. And this is another one of those times of we're playing very defensively to start off. So we're going to cut a couple of these things that just hurt us in the long run. 4 more cuts. Cut 1 Ultimatum just because it's too slow. Kenrith is also not great in this matchup. Same with Vraska. Go ahead and cut a Shaman out of there. We'll try this. Hand could be better, could be worse. We'll go ahead and keep it though. 1 mana and it goes somewhere. There we go. We found our 1 mana. We do need to go with green mana though for the time being. Barkhide Troll is a little bit annoying. Thankfully, most of our creatures actually match up pretty well and will trade with the Troll. It's a whole lot of land. Do I want one of those lands? Have 2 in hand. For the time being, we are going to pass those up. Both my lands are fairly slow, but that is fine at this stage. Skoos again. Okay, well, we have answers to Skoos. Thankfully, answers in hand. Ooh, that sadly doesn't work on its own. So we're definitely going to wait a turn to Skoos. Yeah, we'll go ahead and keep that on top. Very good card in this matchup. Interesting. He just went straight into it. Okay. So we do need to find another white source. That's the one downside. Skoos indeed. Interesting. I'm surprised he didn't eat one of his own creatures. Doing it now. Okay. Really should have done that at the end step, but that's okay. So the one thing we are worried about here is we don't want a random Ranger's Guile to happen again. So we're gonna lead off with the Mythos, see what happens. If he does have the Ranger's Guile, then we'll probably block. Yep. So we don't really want to take 5 right now. And that does bring his total up, though. No. We're not going to block. We're going to sit here. So we really need to find that second white source. And once we do, we are off to the races. Another Barkhide, that's just fine. That gets blocked, thankfully. Well, another land, but not a white land. So, we have to figure out what we're going to do here. Gonna throw down the knight, we're going to make it big. And then throw the dead weight on the scoos. So that'll make it awkward. He's going to have to attack in with other things. Great Henge is a real card. That's half the reason I bring the Knight of Autumn in this matchup. Because it's scurry. Well, sadly, we cannot let him do what he wants to do with this Garrix. So we're going to block there. Ah, Massacre Girl. Okay. So that's really interesting. Taki wants to trade, but he's not going to. We're going to set up for next turn. This problem is right now Massacre Girl doesn't quite kill anything. It's real close. Fortunately, here I do have to block this Scavenging Ooze. Force him to eat at least one thing here. Alright, if we can top deck a white source that's untapped, we'll be in really good, ooh, like a god. Sometimes you just gotta have faith, you know? Yes, yes, excuse my thing. Unfortunately, I will have to find a solution to this Great Henge because it is way too much card advantage for him. Yep. Massacre Girl won't quite take care of this either, which is a problem. Can I do that and that? No, I can only do one of those, but it's better than nothing, and it gains us some life. If I can draw a black land next turn, Massacre Girl becomes pretty good. So I can then play the Glow Spore, follow it up, start the Chain of Death. If not, this one might get a little bit iffy. Especially because this Scavenging Ooze actually is going to be out of the range. And that's actually just me dead. Yep. Alright, we're on the play this time, so that means we're going to change things up ever so slightly. This time, we're bringing in the Agonizing Remorse. Question is, what do we cut? Bellhaunt is a little bit better. Elspeth, I can get rid of you. And I know we want to get to our top end, but I think we have enough of an excuse to cut the Elspeth Conquer's Death. Didn't see any questing beasts from him last game, which is a little bit concerning. Highly doubt he would have taken him out. This hand is slow, but we will keep. Yep. Well, that Barkhide Troll is going to be eating some removal, most likely. Or do I get rid of the Pellet Collector? Let's get rid of the Pellet Collector. Has potential to become more problematic. The Barkhide's going to stay a 3-3 its whole life regardless. Yep. So ideally, we are still looking for another land here. Hopefully he won't play Primal Might or a Vivian. Those could be problematic in this spot. Getting rid of my one creature that can actually kill something. So far, Massacre Girl hasn't been the greatest in this matchup, just because their things are a little bit too large. They're like one toughness too big to really start. Pellet Collector? Lovestruck Beast, okay. Ooh, perfect. Do we want to just get rid of the side right now? Man, that's tempting. Yeah, I think we need to take advantage of this while we can. Unfortunately, it gets rid of our blocker, but that's fine. And then next turn we can set up Cavalier of Thorns or do it again with Yorion. Alright, at this point we have pretty darn good lead on them. It's going to be hard for them to come back. So that's the problem with Mono Green, is once you get behind, you are behind. And unless you have the Great Henge, which he does, it's really hard to draw back out of that. Thankfully, I have a nice answer. Question is, do we attack into this? Actually, yes, that's fine, because that allows us to draw Garruk next turn if need be. And he's not going to block, that's fine. Questing Beast, okay. He's going to hold it back to block, though, most likely. No, he's attacking. Oh yeah, it does have Vigilance. I always forget about that portion on that card. No, you are useless. And now we can afford to play it slow. So he can't profitably attack. I get to draw cards plus put things on top of my library, which is bad news for him. Another questing beast. Okay, sure. It's what we call a desperation move. See what we got on top. Nothing. Now, temptation here is to hit that, get rid of those. Yes, we are going to do that. Sack, sack. Cavalier, what do we want to put on top? We want to put the Garrick, because we get to play it this turn. Yep. Good game. As per usual, the goal is to go slightly over 60%, so... So any possible changes we want to make here. The main board feels pretty good. The only thing I would say is maybe changing up the Massacre Girl, one of those, for something else. Something a little bit earlier. Possibly another glass casket. Let's go ahead and try that. That is keepable. I always like having a temple in the opening hand just for that little bit of flexibility. Okay, so this is going to be fast. Glad I have the birth. They'll slow things down a little bit, but I don't know if it's going to slow it down enough. Sacrifice can be a very fast deck when it needs to be. People on the top of the ladder have been playing versions with Bolus's Citadel too, which is a little bit scary. Another temple. Okay, we're gonna have to take damage. That sucks. This matchup, you want to avoid shocking yourself as much as possible. Nice thing is, so far my opponent is having a little bit slower start. Main threats that we have to worry about getting rid of. The Devil, of course. Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Yep. Priest is a target that is going to eat this Mythos right away. It's worth it. So that's how they stay in the game, with the card advantage that the Priest gives. Especially if they're playing Claim the Firstborn. It's so annoying when they steal something of yours and then sack it. Hopefully they're going to be stuck on 2 mana. If they are, that gives us a much better chance of pulling out of this. Because sadly, it's looking like next turn our only play is going to be to bring the other Yori into our hand. Play down a tap land of some sort. opponent's probably in the tank trying to figure out what they're going to do with this lack of resources. Forget the name of the player, but I was playing against somebody earlier that was ranked. Oh, interesting. He's going to sack it with rights. That's unfortunate. I'll get his land drop, though. Playing against a player that was playing a sacrifice deck. He was ranked, I think, number 14 at the time. And the deck was playing, what was it, Earwig Squadrons? Which is an odd card, but it got more copies of itself for more sacrificial stuff. It was actually pretty cool synergy. Is that the name of that card? No, I don't think that's the name of that card. Well, let's go ahead and gain life in this case, because we just want to stall. Sadly, our opponent did not find a land off that rights, and it looks like they didn't get one this turn either. Kroxa, okay. That is a good threat to need to know about. Let's go ahead and get rid of this Triumph. A lot of the sacrifice decks have been going away from Kroxa lately, I've been noticing. It's much better in the Luris variants. But a lot of decks haven't been playing Luris. We get to land a Cavalier this turn, which is very hard for that deck to deal with. If they're playing Heartless, then they can kill it, but a lot of them aren't necessarily playing Heartless. Alright, our opponent just went and got a second source of red, which tells me they might randomly have an Embercleave. Which would be terrifying if that's the case, but thankfully we're at a nice healthy 14. Okay, we have another priest, so that is going to eat and eliminate. Ooh, and we have our Eerie Ultimatum. Sadly, we don't have a lot in the yard right now. And we can get back Cavalier. But that's about it that's worth it. So we're not going to worry about the Eerie Ultimatum at the time. For now, there's a good chance that he claims the Firstborn, so we are just going to attack with the Charming Prince. Hold the Cavalier back. I'm going to have to find an answer for this Kroxa, though. That is going to be the one issue. Nice thing is, though, whatever we discard to it, we're going to be getting back with the Ultimatum. Ooh. That is super tempting. Do we just shatter the sky? Get a draw card, put something on top. What would we put on top is the question. Probably a land. And then we can ultimate him next turn. Yeah, that seems fine. Actually, let's go ahead and grab this Mythos. Put that on top. Since the draw trigger ended up going beforehand. Still got the land either way. And we are set up for a very good next turn. Okay, we have Archfiend and a Priest. We get a Cavalier of Birth, a whole bunch of land, a Yorion, a Charming Prince. Is that worth it to pull the trigger yet? I think we are actually going to slow roll that still because that Priest is real dumb. And it causes problems. We're going to go ahead and sit here and slow roll this Area Ultimatum. Could be wrong. Who knows? We'll find out. Okay. Very surprised he's not playing Lurrus as a companion here. Because this is looking a lot more like the Lurrus version of the deck with all the 1 and 2 drops. Haven't seen a 3-cost permanent yet. Well, we are pulling the trigger. See how our opponent reacts to being flooded with things. So, this is really fun here because we get to start a loop between the Yorion and the Charming Prince if we want. But for now, we're going to see what we can see. Let's get rid of those. Those are pretty terrible. I think we want to just scry in this case. It would be fun to blink the Yorion, but because we have another Yorion in hand, much rather try and find some gas here. That's kind of like gas. Not quite the big flashy thing I was hoping for, but I'll take it. If he croaks us again, probably gonna ditch this Elspeth Conquers Death because it's doing nothing this game. They're definitely coming out in sideboard. Village Rites, interesting. It's one less thing for him to priest away. Our opponent is playing very cautiously. Probably trying to figure out if there is a possible way to get around this. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult. On my turn, I'm going to be able to play some combination of Cavalier, Solemn, another Yorion. Do we care about this Plains? We're actually just going to give this Plains up. We might play the Elspeth Conquers Death simply to, in 3 turns, get something back. Not that there's a ton in here at the moment. The Fiend Artisan could be really good. Turns out Birthing Pod on a creature is still very good. That card's definitely in more for the control matchups. Okay. Just gonna Priest. And he's gonna get a 5/5 demon here. Thankfully, the Cavalier of Thorns blocks the demon pretty darn well. How many cards do we have? 5, so he has exactly enough to get one of the Croxes back. He'll probably end up priesting, though. Why? No, you don't attack. Making me sacrifice a creature. Cruel and unusual. I'm surprised he sacrificed the demon. We're actually going to get rid of Yorion here. Okay, this is a little bit strange version of this deck. No Lurrus, no Mayhem Devil so far. Call the Death Dweller is so much better with Mayhem Devil because it gives it the Death Touch. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with these things. In that case, we are going to play out a Solemn because we want to be drawing a card. Or do we want to go for the Elspeth? No, we're just going to play the Solemn. We're going to decline the search because we really like what's on top. Swing there, swing there. At least we are ahead on match timer. It's one nice thing is I've noticed match timer doesn't go nearly as... or games don't come down to match timer as much on this as they do on Moda. Alright, opponent, what are you gonna do? Scorpion. Gonna get the sacks going here. Alright, the question is, do we sack the Sad Robot? Or do we sack Cavalier Thorns? And Ultimatum. Well, we're actually going to sack the Cavalier Thorns and Ultimatum. Just more powerful play. That should get the scoop. Roxa, okay. He's trying to figure out a way that he can do that last 4 damage this turn. It's gonna be tough. We're gonna be gaining at least 8 life on our turn. Probably more like 11. There's another one in here. Is there? Is there? More like 14 life. And drawing a few cards. Okay. Making us get rid of the... Yep, that's fine. You're gonna sack them both? I'd love you to do that. Oh, he's doing it. Okay. Now we get to keep the Garuk also, which is really nice. Fiend Artisan, that is not going to do it. Okay, let's get back all the things. Birth. I'm going to pass on the Treacherous Blessing just because that can get dangerous. Is that everything that we can take? Yep. Good luck dealing with this board. And a Garruk on top of that. Do I even care about that? Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and just get all of the life we can. Don't care about any of those. Alright, opponent, the writing is on the wall. Feel free to... Ooh, Liliana. Feel free to concede at any time. So there is zero way that you can come back at this point. There you go. Ultimatum just gets kind of crazy sometimes. Alright, we are definitely getting rid of the Elspeth Conquers Death. They did Jack and or Squat that game. This is one where Ultimatum's generally too slow, so I'm going to take out a couple. We've been playing definitely against the more aggro-heavy side of things. Solemn can go. Vraska is bad in this matchup. Fiend Artisan is not good either. We need 2 more cuts. Treacherous Blessing can be a liability, so I'll take out 1. I do want to keep another one. Elspeth can actually be pretty good in this matchup. Kenrith is very good if you get the time, just because of that life gain, but I'm not entirely certain I'm going to have the time. So we'll go ahead and cut a Glow Spore. Keeping the Ugin just for the fun of it, because if we get to the point where we can actually play an Ugin, that exiles their board, which is not what they want to have happening. And now, assuming we don't have too slow of a start here, we should have maximum kind of amount of removal to be able to take care of whatever they're doing. As I said, with this hand is way too slow. But we have a Temple of Malady, which makes me want to keep it. Charming Prince gives us a little bit of life gain. We can try and attempt to stall up to the Lily. Generally, this would be kind of a mulligan in this matchup, especially on the draw, but I'm going to keep. We have 2 games to win 1, so we're just going to kind of YOLO it a little bit. Hope he doesn't start off too fast. Okay. Basilica Bellhaunt. That is a good card for us to catch up. Alright, in this case, we're going to take the damage. Charming Prince does pretty much everything you ever want to. It smooths out draws, it gains you life, it blinks your big threats. I wish it just blinked permanents, but then that'd be way too good. Okay, he brought in a little bit more removal for me, that's fine. Means he's not putting threats out on the board, so I'm okay with that. Next turn, we will be able to play Basilica Bellhaunt out. Gum down the ground pretty well. And then if we can get to 5-6 mana, we're going to be in a happy place. There's our 5th mana. It's a little bit slow, but we still have the Elspeth to play next turn. Nice thing about a lot of these creatures, too, is they can't be claimed. Which that is definitely an issue when you're playing, like, say, Uro or something like that, and it gets claimed, and suddenly they have a 6/6 attacking you and drawing a card and gaining life, and it's just, it's a nightmare. And then they sack it, of course. Absolute nightmare scenario. I think people are going to be gunning really pretty hard for the Sultai deck. Oh, another Noxious Grasp. Okay. Well, we're getting those out of his hand, at least. So if we can get this Kenrith to stick, that is big game. And he's running out of things. True does have the castle. And he has plenty of life to work with. Last card in hands is either another Noxious or possibly a Village Rites. He's thinking. Ooh, I like this card a lot. It helps us on so many different levels. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and keep that. Elspeth is great right now, creating 2 different bodies. Get to block both of the Gutter Bones. Elspeth basically just reads, save you 5 damage. Taking damage? Is he playing a Kroxa? No. Oh, that's actually slightly annoying. The 4 life loss is not great for us. If he wants to attack in with the Gutter Bones, that's fine. Not entirely sure why he attacked. Ah, there we go. Baneslayer Angel. If he ends up finding a way to kill the Cavalier, we can bring the Baneslayer Angel back. gain us a lot of life. Man, they have been playing slow for a sacrifice deck. So normally you don't get timer warnings against sack players. Duress. Okay, that's a little bit annoying. Probably gonna take the Liliana. Archfiend. Archfiend. Those aren't great as just 1/1s right now. They really need to be coming out of the yard to have any impact. So we are going to block here. Unfortunately, he is going to be able to get back 1 Gutter Bones. He won't be able to play it, though. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we want the Baneslayer. Where do we want the Liliana? Actually, let's get the Liliana. That's going to draw some cards. Main way this comes back to bite us if he draws another Call of the Death Dweller. But I'm not too worried about. Yeah, there we go. I'm really not too worried about that at all. Alright, now we're in a commanding position. Wish we had one more land to work with, but we're going to go ahead and Kenrith, hold up the Eliminate. Nice thing is, from this point, if the Kenrith stays alive, we just gain so much life. And they have an impossible time coming back from that. Oh, the Spotify list is going club today. And we have the Eliminate for some shenanigans. Okay, so he did get the call. Thankfully, they do not have haste. So we get to get rid of one of them right now, which is fine. And then next one we can get rid of on our turn. There is a good chance that he just picks it up when I show him this Eliminate. Really funny thing is I can bring those back too. Does he have any more of them? Nope. If we draw a land, that'd be ideal. We did not draw land. That's fine, though. Because ideally, we'd want to res something with the Kenrith. There we go. He can't win with an untapped Kenrith. So we could res Baneslayer Angel, and that just kind of shuts the game down for him. Alright, we're up at 2 wins, 1 loss. Go ahead and throw it right back. The Elementals matchup is pretty good. It just depends on their draw, though. They can always have really explosive draws. If they get enough of the dragons out, that can be a problem. And sometimes that deck can just kill you out of nowhere, too. Yet again, not great. But we will go ahead and keep it. There's potential. And if we keep getting aggroed down, we have a shatter. It's the only reason I'm keeping this hand. Teamer Adventures is definitely, as the name implies, an adventure. Just depends. Do they get the Lucky Clover or do they not? If they get it early, you're going to struggle. If they don't, you just tend to... Yep, okay, we're playing against it. Perfect. Nice thing is they have a fairly slow-ish start right now. I would say this matchup is slightly in my favor. That's actually kind of great. So we're going to play the Fabled there. Oh, there's our first ultimatum gone. It's okay, we got this Cavalier. Might be worth it next turn, play the Cavalier and then share the sky afterward to get the ultimatum back. Get back a couple good things in there. They're off to a fairly slow start here. Do we have triple green? We do now. And who knows? I have been having opponents that just kind of run themselves into a Cavalier and don't realize there's an ultimatum in the yard. So that is always a possibility. That our opponent does our work for us. So next time, or next turn, we have guaranteed ultimatum land too. Trip black, double white, double green. See what he does with this Lovestruck Beast. Going to double giant. So that means I'm going to attack in, shatter the sky, get back an ultimatum for next turn. The only downside is if he does have Fae of Wishes. Huh. Fae actually changes that math, so we might Yorion instead. So if he Fae of Wishes for a negate, then we're in trouble. Still going to attack him, though. Okay. So we're gonna grab it. He's given us the opening. Which we are A-okay with. Go ahead and hit that Charming Prince. Well, we're gonna telegraph our intentions here. That is fine. I don't think I'm going to show him the other land, though. Make him think that we still need one. Oh. Wow, I just made a mistake. Hey, punt count number 2 for the day. That was not a good mistake either. Well, there's the Fae of Wishes, so it wouldn't have mattered too much. negate and disdainful stroke. Darn, they're going hard. And playing the Fae. Gonna draw the disdainful stroke out. Next turn we can follow up with the Yorion. See if he just bounces the Fae of Wishes and replays it. No, Beanstalk, okay. And our opponent is going to keep that negate up for the rest of the game, no matter what. Okay, we really need to find something with this Charming Prince. And hopefully it stacks the triggers correctly. So that would be very unfortunate if it didn't. Interesting. That did not stack correctly. Great. Well, we're gonna gain some life as a result. And this is an argument for always playing in full control. So at this point we need to bait something out. So he casts the negate and then hit the shatter. That's the only way we come back in this one. This Beanstalk Giant is big and scary. Oh, why are you attacking with those? What is going on here? Why would you willingly give rid of an innkeeper? Well, our opponent is making interesting decisions, to say the least. Fae of Wishes. See what horrible things we get out of the sideboard this time. Fling, okay. And there's the copy combo. Does he have the mana this turn, though? Unfortunately, yes he does. And that is exactly the right amount. Yep. That is okay. We have answers to this in the sideboard. So, Massacre Girl, really good in this matchup. So we have the one duress in here because we want to, on certain games, be able to get in under that Lucky Clover. It doesn't happen very often, but there are some games that it definitely does. Vraska is good because it kills the Clover. This one where we take the Polyk and the Elspeth out. Kenrith is not nearly as good in this matchup. And then I think we're going to make some cuts on some of the smaller stuff. So Grazer out. 2 of the Shamans out. Shamans just get blocked all day long. All day, every day. In fact, we're going to take out all the Shamans. Bring in a dead weight and another one there. A little bit more interaction. Dead weight's just great for that turn 1 innkeeper. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, that is not a keeper. Okay, that's a bit better. We can deal with this. Planes, get out of here. So ideally, we want them to have a Lucky Clover in their opening hand. Because if we could snag a Clover, or if worse comes to worse, and Into the Wilds. Into the Wilds it is. So there's a good chance he's going to try and tempo me this game. Yeah, ideally, it's pretty darn good until the Clover comes in, because them being able to double Fae Wishes is very, very powerful. Being able to go get multiple counterspells when you really need to be able to get around only one counterspell causes issues. That also sets up the combo turn like you saw, where he's able to fling an Expansion Explosion in the same turn, which, as you see, 20 damage out of nowhere. It happens. The Giants are huge. And there is a Clover. So now things get slightly more terrifying. And he officially has up double bounce, so he's going to be able to get rid of both of those, which is definitely an issue. So he's going to Brazen Borrower these two at the end of turn. Allow him to come through for 6. Yeah, our hand might just not be lining up properly this game, which it happens. If I get another green source that's untapped this turn, then possibly we can stall this one out long enough. Let's see what he's going to go get with Fae of Wishes here. If he just holds back and wants to play... Oh, he's just going to play the Brazen. Okay. So that means there's an untapped green source. Excellent. Ask and you shall receive. So that means he does most likely have a Bone Crusher for that last card in hand, which doesn't bother me too much. He is going to be able to Bone Crusher and kill the Cavalier with the Lovestruck Beast, but we have another Cavalier come right behind it, and that might be worth it because that'll give us an Oath of Kaya to work with too, that we can actually play next turn. Okay. Yeah, that'll actually clean things up pretty nicely. Fae of Wishes. Okay. Fling. Interesting. He's gonna go for it right away. Alright, so how do we get around a fling? That is the question of the day. Let's start off here. Well, we found an answer to the fling. That was very fortuitous. And he drew something big that he can fling. Probably another Lovestruck Beast. Then again, that could be an early GG. could also have... I still think he has a Bone Crusher in hand. Could be double Bone Crusher. Oh, nope. There we go. There's the Lovestruck Beast. Except for he still doesn't have enough mana to actually do it. It's a little bit too early for the GG there, friend. Ooh. Shatter the Sky. Well, the problem is he didn't get a counterspell. Really tempting to play out the Shatter. At the same time, though, we can guarantee living with the Eerie Ultimatum. So we gain 6 life, we go up to 13. We don't take care of the Lovestruck Beast, though, as part of the problem. So I think in this case, we are going to Shatter. So we can Shatter and then only follow up with a... no, we can play an untapped land. It just gets more and more dangerous the more spells we play. Okay. What do we want here? We need life gain. We need life gain pretty badly. The best part about this is keeping it so we can't actually cast these spells right now. So we are not just dead. That was too early of a GG. Question is, do we get rid of the expansion or the fling? They both do really bad things to us. I think we have to get rid of the expansion, force him to play out the fling. Should have probably kept the Charming Prince in. That was a mistake. Yep. That was a mistake. That might have been a game-costing mistake. Treacherous Blessings are definitely better if you're playing the Vraskas still, because you can actually sack them to them. Not have to worry about dying too much. Alright, Negate's not going to do much against what I'm doing. So we're going to just gain some life here on the next turn. That's vaguely annoying, but is what it is. Do we Yorion first, draw that out, and then play that? Yeah, I think that's what we have to do. So no matter what happens here, we need to make sure that the Charming Prince actually hits. So otherwise we are just dead. Okay, Vraska and a Charming Prince. That's actually about perfect. Unfortunately, the Vraska will most likely draw a counterspell. Unless he tries to go all out this turn. But still, just having the other Charming Prince really gives us a bit more leeway. Because until he can draw a Giant, he can't just kill us out of nowhere with the fling. Ooh. Okay, so we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana to work with. So we need 3, 7, 9. Okay, that is actually really good. So we're going to force a counterspell here. Fortunately, it does hurt a little bit. Kind of tickles. Him having this Brazen Borrower in hand definitely causes some issues. Question is, do we lead off on Nebraska? Or we can go Cavalier. Cavalier definitely eats it. 5. Then we have Charming Prince after. They throws another flyer at us, but that's okay. Oh, I didn't take into account the Treacherous Blessing. That's a mistake also. On the plus side, we'll still be at 6. He's not able to play the Brazen Borrower this turn. If he played the Borrower, then we'd just be dead. But we're just going to keep fighting. Next turn, we are going to play the Vraska to bait out the other negate. He is most likely going to just play the Brazen Borrower here, though, to bounce the Yorion. Either way, it's not looking great. I'm super surprised he didn't end step Brazen Borrower. Huh. Our opponent isn't playing the cleanest either. Ooh, Aether is not good for us. Aether is really not good for us. We'll see if they waste it on the Vraska. Or if they just negate, or they have to play the island. Yep. Okay, play one more thing. Play the Clover. Nope, they're not getting greedy. Sadly, no greed monster here. I think we're okay still putting that on top. They can't play the Brazen Borrower this turn, so we just try and force the issue again next turn. They do still have their own Borrower, which is an issue. And we can't really afford to play that because of our lack of life. Yeah, if they're smart, they just Brazen Borrower, bounce the Yorion, come across for 1 with the Fae, and then recast. Why are they not end-stepping that? They're afraid I have some instant. Our opponent is being way too overly cautious. Especially since they knew we tapped out last turn. If we can get this ultimatum off, though, it is very spooky. I'm still wondering what the other card that they've had forever in their hand is. If it was Bone Crusher, I would have been dead a while ago. So it probably isn't a Bone Crusher. They could just be going runner, runner, land. There's Lucky Clover number 1. Okay, it was Lucky Clover. Lucky Clover number 2. Interesting use of your turn. Probably not what you are going to like seeing. She should have tried to kill me. Still can. So Borrower for 2, bounce all the things, swing for 2, or just play Borrower. Okay. Our opponent might have just played too cautiously. They might have actually just let us back into this game. The downside is this Treacherous Blessing is probably going to kill us, though. So now they can just fling it back, yeah. Is he going to let it happen? Aether Gust. Okay, there was another one there the whole time. Yep, that's game. So I don't know if they were toying with us there or just playing super, super cautious. We could have been dead like 5 turns ago. I don't quite see the point in bringing it out quite that far. Lucky Clover alone might be worth the argument of putting 3 of the Knights in the sideboard. Knight of Autumn is just such a good card in many different matchups. Alright, we're on the play. Nubitronics. Okay. So this hand is incredibly slow. We have a lot of those in this deck, unfortunately. But we just get to that Cultivate, and then we're off to the races, assuming we're not dead. Playing against number 795 right now. Finally, the Sultai matchup. That's what we've been waiting for this whole time. Getting nothing but Sultai earlier in the week. So this guarantees we have all the mana we want. And now we just got to figure out, is this the more aggro version of Sultai playing Joriel? Is this the version that's playing 4 main deck Thought Erasures and all that other fun stuff? Let's go ahead and grab that, and grab, we need white, white, green, 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 black. Let's grab another white. No, let's grab green. Yeah, this deck does have ways to overload Sultai, which is really nice. And it has plenty of ways of interacting with Uro. Uro's not nearly as much of a threat. And heck, I get to play Kenrith and steal the Uro. Question is, do I want to set up for that now? He has no other cards in there, so he has to kill this Kenrith. A lot of the Sultai decks are playing Eliminates. Some are playing Heartless. Some are playing Extinction Events. If he has an Extinction Event, now is the time for him to use it. Otherwise, that Uro is mine. And if he decides to do that instead of playing a Nissa, I'm perfectly fine with that. Nissa is still a problematic card regardless of what happens. Oh, Agonizing. Okay. That's fine. That means that the Kenrith is most likely going to snag that Uro. Sad thing is it won't escape, so it won't stay on the field, but I get a gain 3 life, draw a card, throw out a land. That's perfectly fine with me. So we're going to go ahead and lead off on the passage. Send the attacks. It's just like a 5 mana slightly better growth spiral at this point. Now probably the most problematic card out of Sultai is going to be Hydroid Krasis. They can just gain so much card advantage with it. Let's see if he decides to pitch another creature into his yard too. We can always take that. And this Kenrith is definitely swinging at the Teferi. I think he's looking for something like a Heartless. Something to take care of this. Oh. I always forget it's the owner's control portion. Hey, we punted. Third punt for the stream. Third good punt for the stream. Just trying to help my opponent catch up a little bit, you know? Helps when I read my cards. I have probably cheated with Kenrith and EDH, now that I think about it. It's fine. That's why we keep it nice and casual around here. That was just me flexing, asserting my dominance, or something around those lines. Yeah. Mistakes were made. That's fine. Okay, now that he's done that, we are going to go ahead and play out this Garrick. That way, if he decides to Ugin next turn, we get to keep this Kenrith. Big old Krasis, that's fine. Kenrith. Owner's control. You know, these are just the things that happen sometimes. It's fine. Get to draw a card off of that. We do have to send both the wolves, unfortunately. I want to hold one back, but we're going to be playing the Liliana. Main thing is we don't want a Nissa to snipe the Garrick. Holly K. Okay. That's a little bit frightening. There are enough cards that it's going to be coming right back. I think we're still on the same plan here, though. And if he kills anything, I get a draw card. It's fine. There's the Ugin that we're afraid of. Things might have taken a turn for the worse. Unfortunately, we don't have enough stuff in the yard to be able to come back from that really well. From an ultimatum. Yep, that was on me. That game was entirely on me. Okay. Time to address those problems. Don't need that. Don't need that. Kind of iffy. Glass casket are just fine. It's real tempting. Okay, opponent. This time, we are not going to be punting. Kenrith, you're going out. Oaths are really bad in this matchup. Nissa is also not great in this Elspeth is not great in this matchup. So we're going to go ahead and cut one more card and actually bring in those glass caskets because they're a lot better at taking care of the big old flyers. There we go. Cuts and cuts. The Vraskit's not great because it can't target the animated lands from Nissa. But still, it does create a little bit more wiggle room. My opponent's probably going, what the hell did you do last game? To which I said, nothing. Just play Magic, you know? I'm bad at this game, it's fine. Yeah, this hand's okay. It has interaction for getting rid of Nissas. So the game plan here is Agonizing Remorse the first Nissa. Mythos the second one. Also, we can, of course, Agonizing Remorse. Ooh, okay. So, this is a card I was afraid was going to happen. The question is, do we let it stay in there and just play out our things and hope we don't draw enough that it makes it worth it? I think that is actually how we are going to go with this. Yeah, because he can't cast that anytime soon. I'm more worried about this happening. And who knows, by the time he gets close to casting it, I might just have an answer for it anyway. Or we might just have a card with no non-creature spells. We might just have a handful of land. That's very much a possibility. So the Nissa's going to come down the turn before it. Actually, the Nissa comes down this next turn, but it's going to eat this Mythos. I don't really care about losing the Shatter. He can definitely spend 6 mana to get rid of the Shatter. And if he RFGs these things from my yard, I don't really care because it's really only the Eries that usually end up coming back for the course of a game. So we are not going to put the Ori in there. So he is going to Nissa this turn. Nissa, Mythos, I Shatter. Yeah, seems fine. Problem is, we do have to draw something besides land at some point. Okay, and response. And this next turn, we get a Lando him, which is really nice. Unless we draw a better option, but we're probably just going to Lando. did not draw a better option. Okay. Lando it is. Gets us slightly ahead in the race, but yet again, we just need to actually draw cards. Things what do things. Whereas knowing Simic, they have infinite grasses. Simic always has gas. Okay. So we're going to go ahead, glass casket this, and make him see that we have nothing in hand. So I'm guessing this is going to be basically a free turn. If he develops the board, we're in a little bit of an issue, but I have a feeling he developed. Yep, there you go. Enjoy my terrible hand. Okay, that's not much better. Ooh, there goes an ultimatum. That's fine. So we're gonna play this out, hoping he doesn't have like an extinction event. He can only kill one of them though. But we're gonna have to start drawing pretty well here. Hello, Ugin. If we top deck into an Eerie Ultimatum, we're in really good shape. Treacherous Blessing would be very nice also. Any of the big planeswalkers. Just something to generate a little bit of card advantage, otherwise we're going to fall behind pretty quickly. So he's most likely going to play a huge Crassus this turn. Oh. Enter the God Eternals. Okay, there's that too. And that is not what we were looking for. So we're just going to hang back here. He hit an Uro into the grave, which is really good for him. Not really getting to show off what this deck can do against Sultai. Pretty one-sided on their end, but usually it's one-sided on our end. We just have been fairly flooded. Which happens. Game is all about variance, and that's why no one wins, you know, that much better than a 60 to 65% clip at the most. What do you get rid of? Probably Ugin? Yep, Ugin. Mm-hmm. You play that Uro. Deck is punishing me. Just gonna go and, you know, blame it on the old bug, the Moto Shuffler, you know, the old excuses. Yep, you get to see I still have a land. Unfortunately, he's getting rid of the Vraska this time. Can guarantee it. Yep. Very predictable. Been trying to figure out ways to realistically make blue work in this deck also. So then you could add things like Expansion, Explosion, some of those kind of things. Some more mass card draw. Wouldn't mind getting a red source in here for the Kenrith. Just a single. Could always go ahead and play the Chromatic Lantern game, which actually might not be terrible. It's ramp, it's fixing. Oh, hello, second Yorion. Yup. Alright. Let's go ahead and throw it on back, try and get back in that win column. I feel like it's my bedtime already. Been up since 4 o'clock. Scrabble Chickens. It's a good name. Yeah, we have been keeping some little bit iffy hands like this one, but I would rather be hedging on more land. Whereas I'm the exact opposite when I'm playing Mono Blue Tempo and Historic. I keep all sorts of one land hands. If it has one land and a card draw, good to go. Okay, we got knights. That means we are going to go with a prince this turn over the birth. I think we were going to scry. Ooh. That's too slow. Nice thing, 2 turns from now, we have an extra blocker. We also have Polyk. Very tempting to block here and force him to use his turn. Yep, that sounds good. I take 2, the knight doesn't grow. All in all, it's a win-win. What does that do for us? Not a ton. We need black mana. Thankfully, this Pelucranos is going to put up a large wall next turn. Or maybe it's not. That is a double oof. Okay, so we play the one he's seen. Put the Yorion in hand. Thankfully we have a blocker that is probably just going to die to this knight, but yet again that means him use pretty much all of his mana for the turn. We'll get this Cavalier out here pretty soon. Yet again, we are kind of flooding on mana. We did keep a mana heavy hand, so the fact that we've drawn another 3 or so past there is a problem. True, we did get 1 off the birth, but still, it's been heavy. There's an argument for myself that this deck has enough fixing that I could go down a land or 2. Start testing it out that way. Okay, speaking of fixing, we have a Cultivate now. And I said I didn't want more land. I really meant it. Okay. Getting some stuff in there. We'll keep that on top. Sadly, that means we can't really block the Knight of the Even Legion with the Cavalier right now. Unless we want to wait 2 turns. We'd much rather just play out the other Cavalier next turn. Okay, they're just gonna murder us, Rider. Do I want the Solemn? I do not. Yeah, we're gonna submit 0. Put nothing on top there. Unfortunately, the Knight of the Ebon Legion is going to get a little bit more swole this turn, most likely. Now we are closer to the danger zone. Okay, there's an Eerie Ultimatum, so the nice thing is he kills the Cavalier, then I get to Ultimatum next turn. And he doesn't have any way through beyond killing the Cavalier. And that is going to stabilize us quite a bit. Trying to figure out a way to not kill this Cavalier and still deal me damage. Yep, have a look at my terrible hand. Lazotep. On the plus side, I at least get to play out the Yorion as a second blocker next turn, even if he doesn't attack in. And a Reggie. Ooh. The Reggie is actually terrifying. Especially because it has 0 drawback right now. Kenrith. Okay. Are we going to redeem ourselves with a Kenrith here? We got 5, 8, 9. I think we are going to stick to the same plan. Force him to attack into the Cavalier. Kenrith sets up much better for next turn anyway. Alright, and a Oath of Kaya in there. That makes me very happy. Problem is he gets forced to push through at some point. So he can't let me keep throwing down threats that are going to be gaining me card advantage. Once he sees this Kenrith, he's probably going to be forced to act. Activating Castle is a good place to start, probably. No, he's activating the Manland. Okay, so he's coming in this turn. If he has another piece of removal, I'm in trouble, but I don't believe he does. Otherwise, he would have used it already. Do you have another piece of removal for 2 mana? Heartless Summoning? No, okay. That is pretty good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if I don't block there. So he gets us down to 1, but that's fine. We survive. That's all that matters. As long as I don't misclick here and do what I did last time. Alright, friend. You ready for some bad times? that all of them? Nothing more, nothing more? Nope. That should be more than enough, though. Alright, so that is going to kill there. That kills there. That gains us life. Life gain, yes please. Getting a little bit tired of being at 1. Nice thing is, Cavalier is set up so we can actually just do it all over again. Garrick is just going to draw us a card here. And that, my friends, is how you stabilize at 1. Oath of Kaya. Yeah, that's fine for next turn. Kenrith, because why not? Any reason not send an attacker? No, I'm at 7 now, so... This game is now very much in my favor. I would say if I get to untap, it is insurmountable. Our opponent is trying to figure out a way out of this. Unfortunately, I don't... Yep, it does not exist. So what we have to be afraid of is Regisaurs. Early Regisaur is real hard to deal with. But we have... Okay. Stop freezing. We have ways of dealing with these things, though. So we're going to cut the Glow Spores, cut the Fiend Artisan, cut the Solemn. Elspeth is okay. Leave in the Treacherous Blessing. Grazer is fine. Tempting to cut a Birth. Go ahead and cut one Eerie. Kenrith, you can be really good at times. It's hard to say. Vraska, not so much. Polyk is okay in this one. Yeah, we'll get rid of the Grazer. We'll get rid of the Ugin. At that much mana, we'd much rather be playing an Eerie. We'll go ahead and see what he brings in for the sideboard, too. Mono Black usually tends to bring in some more hand rip. That's when the duresses come in, usually in the second game. Sometimes they're in that main board, though, like we saw. Sometimes it's not a bad idea to diversify your threats and bring in some creatures that won't necessarily be hit by those cards. At the moment, I'm bringing in the Knights, and I could bring in some Baneslayers. Baneslayers actually did end up coming in, now that I think about it. Baneslayers are pretty good in this matchup. They don't have a ton of removal that's going to be able to target it. And since they're mono black as opposed to black-red, they don't get Tibalt to annoy us. This hand is perfect. Find one more black source, and we are really good. Duress is probably going to take the Oath of Kaya or the Deadweight. Well, it's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. There's our second black source for the Basilica Bellhaunt. They're not doing anything turn 2, so we can afford to not do anything either. And there is the card that we were afraid of. Rotting Regisaur. Now we need to go and desperately find some answers. Because Reggie will kill us very quickly. Reggie is not our friend. Yeah, there's still a lot of decks that just are not great for dealing with turn 3 Reggie. Hey there, Fatal Gaming in the chat. Thanks for joining. Just run through some Abzan control. Ultimatum is such a fun card. Just dumping your entire board out onto the field. Been having some good punts today. Trying to get back into the positive here for the win. Nice Witch EDH deck. See what our opponent is doing here. They're taking their sweet time. Ooh, Aminatu. She is one of my all-time favorites. So many shenanigans with her. I actually have an Aminatu deck sitting right over my shoulder over there. Wishclaw Talisman is such a good card in that deck. Alright, I will definitely take a look at that while my opponent hits me in the face. Ooh, Psychic Surgery is fun. That's a little piece of tech that I've never thought about throwing in there. We're gonna hold back and just take this damage for a moment. Unfortunately, we kind of have to until we find an answer for this Reggie. Yeah, I'm very, very sad. Normally I work at a LGS, and things have been, you know, not the greatest because of COVID. So I've been doing a lot of stuff from home. So I haven't actually had a chance to play physical Magic since March, and it really, really, really sucks. Okay, so yeah, definitely a card that you need to throw into that website for physical EDH. I have not seen, so like people doing webcam games, I would assume. Okay, what's our best way through this? Spell table. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I think we have to do this, unfortunately. We're going to deadweight here to prevent the extra damage. Yeah, a card that I would definitely say throw into Aminatu right away is Wishclaw Talisman. It is so abusable with her abilities. Card recognition software in it. Okay. Ooh. Excellent. I will have to try that out, because I know I have a good-sized group here that wants to play some physical. We've been doing online tournaments and that kind of stuff, but it's just not the same. And that is another land, so we're going to call it for that game. So they are playing Rankles. Rankle's a very good, effective card against us. Being a little bit faster, we're going to go ahead, chuck that deadweight, throw in this Eerie Ultimatum again, just because we might need it. Who knows? It's fun. And then after that, we want to chuck one more card out. Yeah, Gin of Wishes is very solid also. I guess it just depends on how cutthroat you want to be with the deck. And the only downside for me for the remote Magic is one of my favorite decks is a Jorian deck that steals all the things. So that's a little bit impossible to do over the internet, but sadly I'll just have to wait until that one is a little bit more playable. While I'm waiting, I'm actually going to grab Amanatu really quick. Okay, man, if I just had one more land in this one, that's okay. This, though, is very keepable. Very, very solid. Gonna be taking a little bit of damage from some untapped lands, but that's okay. Instead of gaining life this time, we're going to Scribe, because I think we need to be a little bit more set up. We need to actually find those land. These are going to be going away regardless. Question is, which one do I need? The Elspeth will take care of a Regisaur, so we're going to hold on to that just in case. The Birth of Meletis is going to get us another land, so we should get pretty close to being able to actually cast it this game. Looking back at the Amanatu list. How is, oh yeah. Send triplets is fun. How does the Mystical Forge work for you? Is that getting enough working on that one? Ooh. I like that it shows the Japanese alt art Ugin on this. I actually have a foil one up there, right there. I have some fun bling. Okay, we need to play this out. We're gonna go get, do we want that? Yeah, let's keep it for now. Because it's just going right into our hand anyway. There we go. Should have done that the other way around. Ooh, I'm not so sure about this song. Let's get past this. Free party song. Another great one for top deck manipulation in the deck. Of course, she's really hard to see, but the original Liliana. It's another deck that I have a little bit blinged out. Mine is a little bit more kind of ETB value for my Amanatu deck. I unfortunately don't have a list printed up at the moment. But while it is in my hot little hands, I can definitely look through and pull out some various cards that are all-stars. Hostage Taker is a really good one to look at. It's very abusable with her. Okay. Yeah, budgets are always a good thing to build around. Another super good, good political card for Amanatu, and pretty good budget-wise, actually. Scheming Symmetry that came out, one of the last core sets. It's a great card if you need an opponent to find an answer, and you still want to get something, so you can really politic with it. Yeah, this deck is ever so slightly blinged out. It's one of my favorites. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, so we get to play this Birth of Meletis. Get another land. Hopefully he doesn't just rip this Yorion out of my hand. Ah, So you like to be a little bit more aggressive with it then, which is understandable. I generally, in the earlier portions of the game, like to help the other players. A lot of my decks I play a little bit of group hug type thing, or type effects, so they will want to keep me around a little bit more, and then usually figuring my tables are pretty cutthroat with the friend group I play with, and with a lot of people that come through the store. We generally wait for the first person or two to combo off before I end up trying to do it myself. Oh, Murderous Rider. We're not finding the card draw right now. Just on a little bit of a bad run at the moment, but that is fine. Things change up as it goes. Another great mint, if you want a great enchantment with Amanatu, Mystic Remora is always classic, just because you don't really have to keep paying for that, you know, nice cumulative upkeep. Do we go ahead and block there? Yeah, let's force him. You don't have to keep paying for that cumulative upkeep if you want, just keep linking it with Amanatu, and you just are guaranteed to draw so many cards with an early Remora. There's a reason it's played in C80H so much. And then also, probably my favorite card in Amanatu, just because there's so much value generated, and I'm playing a bit heavier of a Planeswalker package than you are. Definitely Eldest Reborn is one of the best cards you can go for Amanatu, just because the value that you generate is kind of insane. Okay, deck, you just want to give us all the land. Play out the Shorian. Thankfully, our opponent's not really doing much. Otherwise, we would have been dead a while ago. Deck thinning. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to trim a land or two. I think I have it at 34 at the moment. Yeah, the nice thing about a lot of the really powerful stuff for Amanatu is it can be fairly budget. There are so many good enchantments, especially that are very effective with her, that are, you know, in that, like, $1 to $5 range. Yep. There goes that. And my opponent gets to see my horrible hand again. Oh, hey, Baneslayer Angel. You're pretty good right now. Probably just eat removal, but, you know, if it doesn't, we could survive. This game's been weird. Yeah, let me tell you, Amanatu is a ton of fun, too, when you're playing Proliferate, and you just decide that you need to give everyone else a really bad board state. Her ult is so funny. Yeah, Send Triplets and Chromatic is fun. Send Triplets is just a mean card altogether. Okay. That's a good sign for us not dying right away. Time to send the Baneslayer. Hopefully this just gets us there. I know I'm a little bit naive thinking it will eventually, but if we were to get an ultimatum, wouldn't be terrible. We'd be getting back 4 cards plus all the blink value. Quite a bit of scrying. Gain some life. That's the nice thing. Our opponent hasn't been able to put pressure on us this game at all. So they have just been not drawn much of anything either. It's a weird one. Approach of the Second Sun is probably one of my favorite alternate win cons in that deck. It's such a fun card. Okay, let's see if he wants to pump. He probably will, because I don't think he has anything else going on. Spawn of Mayhem. Okay. Ooh, Cavalier. There we go. Finally seeing some cards. Nice thing is we are at a very, very healthy life total here, so we're not worrying about dying anytime soon. Elspeth in my yard. Kenrith right there. Yes, things are finally starting to look rosy. Yeah, flicker control is definitely a good way to build her. Honestly, I think she's a little bit too good to be 3 mana. She would be a lot more fair if she was Esper +1. Because a lot of times you can get her out on turn 2 and just start going ham. And even if you go turn 3, usually you have a rock that you're playing her off of or something like that that you can then just untap, basically. Alright, so the Spawn of Mayhem is getting a little bit bigger, which is a little bit annoying, but we can deal with that. Oh, yes, we can deal with that. Kenrith, time for you to redeem yourself. Noxious Grasp is just fine. That means we can just bring him back with Kenrith. Very nice thing is, as we have this Baneslayer, he's basically never going to be able to attack with Spawn. Timurat. Okay. So we have to do that beforehand. That's fine. We want to make sure, or do we want to go Massacre Girl would be hilarious, but no, that's terrible. So, sadly, they're going to be able to take my Yorion. But we get the Baneslayer back. Yeah, turn 2 Aminatou is so good. Just put you ahead so far. And, I mean, even if you're not untapping something with turn 2 and you're just using it to filter, it's still so good. Okay, what are we going to try and target back? So, we have to fight through this game of return something. He's going to target it with the Timurat, and then we are going to return it again. Unfortunately, it's a little bit mana inefficient. Question is, which one do we want? I think... we want to go with the Bell Haunt for the time being. Okay, so he's going after the Yorion, which is vaguely annoying. Do we just want the Yorion as another big flyer? Yeah, I think it just does more than the Bellhaunt right now. Either way, we were going to have to do the same kind of thing. We will go ahead. It's dangerous to exile that right now, so we're going to go ahead and exile nothing. Plus side, in 8 turns, this spawn kills him. This Timorette definitely does cause problems. If we can hit one of our 1 toughness guys, we can attempt to board wipe with Massacre Girl. Oh, speaking of cards that are fun in Nominatu, Massacre Girl is real good in Nominatu. Sadly, there goes the Massacre Girl. Nice thing is when I get to untap, I'm going to start attacking and abusing Kenrith's +1 counters. So that'll lets me attack in with all 3 of the big guys. Ooh, and that just kills that, and he's just dead. That was a weird game. Real weird game. Alright, GG, friend. Well, we're back to 3-3, so that's a good sign. I'd say we have time for one more match, so hopefully we can go plus on the day. So that is always the goal. Ah, yes, Alter the Brood can be very scary. I run that in Edric. Just because you got the Allurin combo. Okay, Scrabble Chickens. You used up all but 6 minutes of your clock when I'm still on 19. Come on. Come on. Spark Double is just a super solid card in Nominatu regardless. Okay, we don't really care about what you're doing here. See, now I'm wasting your time. There you go. Alright, time to run this back for one more. Oh, also, super good card in Nominatu. I'm not certain that you're playing enough islands to make it consistent, though, is the one downside. But blanking on the name, the special island from Eldraine is so good when you can be blinking that and getting your things back from the yard. We'll go ahead and play first. Another kind of boring hand, but we'll keep. I think this Fiend Artisan is going to come out. It hasn't really done anything. It's definitely a flex slot. Been just testing it. See what it can do. Okay, so our opponent is on Umori. Oh. I wonder if this mutate. There's a very good chance this is mutate. Which I have not played against very much. Yeah, this is definitely mutate. Okay. I'm okay with this being mutate because we are going to be able to get some 2-for-1s. And then after board, we have quite a few spot removal things that are going to do some real work. The thing you worry about with this deck with mutate are the sharks, of course. Because they can just tempo you out so fast. Ooh, okay. I'm perfectly happy with you doing this because this just means I'm going to get a 2-for-1. Unless he can bounce. Okay, Brazen Borrower. Brocus. Alright, so this is going to cost him 4 to mutate with that. Oh, this is that version too. Chamber Sentries are so good with mutate. So we need to actually search for some interaction here. Because yet again, we're getting flooded with land. That's been the MO of the last couple games. So if he goes Gem Razor on this Chamber Sentry, I'm going to be a little bit sad. Won't be the end of the world, but... yeah, we'll go ahead and block 4 of that damage. That thing is big. Big and beefy. Okay, Godless Shrine. Hello, lands. Well, gotta throw down a roadblock here. Attempt to stop the bleeding. Paradise Druid is a great mutate target. Ooh, Treacherous Blessing. We needed that pretty badly. Okay, so our goal is survive to Ugin. And also hope he doesn't have another Brazen Borrower. Which there's a good chance. Yep. He's playing that one out. That's fine. Just don't want him to bounce this Poly K. Cycle that main phase, probably looking for one. Ooh, so that's an actual problem because the Ugin doesn't clean that up at all. So the question is, what do we want to do about that? I think we're going to double block the Brockus. And rely on the Ultimatum instead. Yeah, Stonequell being protection from multicolor is actually super relevant right now, especially with all the Uros running around. And the fact that it's colorless really hurts us. I would say it's not looking good to win this one. Cavalier really helps, though. Okay, so the Baracus is taken care of. Cavalier comes down. Does that actually save us, though? We can kill the Brazen Borrower. Yeah, we have just enough mana to do that. So let's go ahead, throw that down. Unfortunately, we are taking some damage. We get to... Oh, and we're going to whiff. That's fine. If we somehow live to be able to ultimate him, which I don't think we will, so all I need to do is turn everything sideways. Polyk is going to block the Paradise Druid when it attacks, kill the Brazen Borrower. The Polywog, if he attacks with it, we are in trouble, and he could just do that too. Yep, that's going to be enough to do it. Okay, so what do we bring in versus Mutate? Definitely that. Glass Casket against the early stuff. Massacre Girl might not be terrible. It might be terrible, though. I'm not entirely certain on Massacre Girl. Bring in the Baneslayer since we're doing the creature fight. And let's try some Agonizing Remorse. We are on the play, so that's very helpful. Cameron's coming out. Solemn's coming out. Fiend Artisan is coming out. Fiend Artisan is definitely coming out permanently. Cultivate out at the moment. We need 4 more cuts. I hate to cut these because they actually hurt the gameplay for Eerie pretty massively. Elspeth can come out. Cut a Prince. Yeah, I'm not sure Massacre Girl's actually going to be able to do nearly enough this game, so we're taking Massacre Girl out. And 1 Shaman. We'll see how this goes. Alright, this hand is incredibly slow, but it does have interaction. Charming Prince probably won't come down to turn 3. That's the issue with playing so many lands that come in tapped, but I think they are not aggressive enough that we can go ahead and give this a try. Chamber Sentry for 1. Okay. Good chance they just throw the octopus on this. I'm a big fan of Sea Dasher. Been playing in Historic a lot. Primarily been playing Mono Blue Tempo there. It's a good change of pace over all this control stuff. The nice thing about Mono Blue Tempo 2 is it wasn't just an auto loss to goblins. Okay, what you doing here? Our opponent did mull down, so that's in our favor. Slows things down a bit. Tempted to Agonizing to get rid of whatever threat they have, because they are definitely stumbling a little bit also. Yeah, we're going to Agonizing, play the Adanthum Triumph. Disdainful Stroke. Okay, they got nothing. So we've been justified in keeping this terrible hand. True, they could draw into something at any time, but at the moment they have nothing. Ooh, did they hit a 4-drop? Stone Coil, okay. Stone Coil, ooh, and we just hit the answer of all answers. So we're going to go ahead and get a Swamp. Sorry, friend. Our deck is paying us back for giving us so many land earlier. Another Paradise Druid, that's just fine. Glass Casket, we'll hit it with that eventually. Then after complaining about land, they give me no land. Go figure. Is what it is. Man, my graphics drivers are having issues. Yeah, at this point, they are way too far behind. We have too much card advantage. And even with having a fairly mediocre start, it's going to be really hard for them to come back from. Do we need another land? Yeah, we want to still keep playing things out, so we're going to go ahead and take this Fabled Passage. So that guarantees us a Liliana next turn if we want it. Good possibility that we still just play a Cavalier regardless. There's the Shark. He's officially jumped the Shark. The only downside is now that he's put the Shark on the Paradise Druid, it is no longer going to have hexproof when it wants to attack, so that makes it very easy to kill. Yeah, so seeing what he has, choices here. We can Liliana, get an extra land, or Liliana, get an extra card draw. We can just Mythos it and play out some other stuff. I think we're just going to Mythos it. That way, if we need to Liliana next turn, we can draw 2 cards. We definitely do have to keep an eye on our health with the Treacherous Blessing going on here. I'm tempted to go back up to 2 Vraska just to help control this. And Vraska, in the matchups that it's really good in, it's really good. In other matchups, it just comes out. It's fine. What do we have in here? We do have an ultimatum. We don't have much else in the way of that, so we're not going to even worry about that. Play here, tick down, draw 2 cards. Ah, the Strix. That's a really good card. Unfortunately, we actually don't have a very good way of dealing with it either. So, we're just going to play some big boys. Temple, see what's on top. Yep, that is just fine. And then we will go ahead and follow up with a Charming Prince. Let's gain some life bees. We're getting a little bit low. 12 is nothing to sneeze at. I'm not expecting the Strix hits to be that good. That's not terrible. Question is, does he want to kill the Cavalier? Because that would be an issue. Or he's going to kill Liliana. Sea Dasher, okay. It flies. Well, user just made a mistake. And they realized it. Do we want to change up anything in this one? Let's go ahead and throw the Vraska out there. Get back another Charming Prince. Since we're on the draw, just make it a little bit cheaper. Alright, how's the day going to go? Are we going to be in the plus or in the minus? It all comes down to this game. Ooh, double tapped again. This hand is way too greedy. We cannot keep this. I mean, I love the early eliminate, but the rest of it just doesn't do anything. There's zero guarantee that we get to even 5 mana here. That is a much better hand. So, question is, do we get really, really greedy? Keep the ultimatum? No, I think we don't. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, for standard perspective, Eerie Ultimatum is the best ultimatum. Jeskai 1, it had its time and place. It was never really a high usage card. Genesis Ultimatum is okay, but it's the random factor that just makes it not nearly as good. Whereas Eerie Ultimatum just kind of does everything. Plus, EDH All-Star. So if you're playing Abzan, you have to play that card. Rise of the Dark Realms on steroids, basically. Okay, I'm liking this because we have the Shatter. So they are not just going to run us over, and then we have the long play after that with the Garruk and the Cavalier. They're playing blue, so they could have some counter spells. You never know. Ooh, Sea Dasher. That's going to draw him a card. Go ahead and throw that Yorion in hand for turn, because that's about all we can do. If he plays the Shark, I am just fine with that, because he gets to draw a card, but then I get to kill all three of his things. Or Hemophage works too. I don't mind that little hit. We're definitely going to block that. Alright, let's see if he has Spell Pierce or Miscast. I have my doubts. Even if they do, I can follow up with an Elspeth or a Cavalier next turn, so I'm not too worried about it. We definitely need a Forest. 3 for 1? 3 for 1. Okay, okay. Maybe they do have it. Nope. And they don't even get a draw. That is perfect. Alrighty, so we want to go... we can't Cavalier this turn because our mana is a little bit wonky. So we'll just go ahead and throw that down. Part of me is a little bit worried about throwing out the Garruk because they're probably going to Shark something. And then I just lose the Garruk. So we're going to go ahead and play the Cavalier. At least we're going to get a little bit of value. Or Disdainful Stroke. It's going to happen either way then. Hopefully this turn they put something big on the Paradise Druid, attack with it, loses Hexproof, and then Elspeth can clean it up. Because just about everything that they're playing in the deck is easy to kill with Elspeth. Ooh, what is this? There's some weird stuff on this playlist. Okay. Sentry. And they're keeping Counterspell? No. Hemophage. Okay. Nice thing is I get Elspeth this. Just give me 2 for 1s and 3 for 1s all day long. See you later, Temple. And that'll do it. Looks like we are ending in the positive today. Sweet. Deck was a little bit temperamental. Definitely see a couple things I need to make some changes on. Cards that I have tried out in it that have been either okay or just kind of iffy. Dread Presence is pretty good, but with Birth of Meletis, it's not nearly as good because I'm running more plains than swamps. So it really doesn't work quite as well. If I want to get rid of Birth of Meletis, then I would definitely throw the Dread Presence back in, but this is just really good against all the aggro decks around there. The other thing that really saw zero play, Fiend Artisan, as I said, I was testing it, but just never had a good chance to play it. There would be certain matchups I could see it being good at, being able to pod, but this might not be the deck for it. Other things I would probably get rid of. The Solemn, it's okay. It's definitely kind of iffy. Probably going back up of Vraska over the Solemn. If I went down the Fiend Artisan, would think about maybe going up another Charming Prince, possibly going up a second Cultivate. Othakaya, I really like at 3 just because it stabilizes so well. And then all the top end stuff is pretty much stable. Kenrith, it's good in certain situations, it's not as good in other situations. So I could see that either moving out of the main board or over to the side. Sideboard, I kind of want to go up another Knight of Autumn, but I'm not sure what to cut in that case. Quite possibly an Agonizing Remorse, but it's really good in the Sultai matchup. So it's hard to say. Maybe a Glass Casket over it. It's nice to have the Casket and the Deadweight, because those come back off of the Eerie Ultimatums every now and then, and just are extra little bits of value. Same with playing a... Why am I blanking on his name? Same with playing... Where are they? Same with playing a Kitesail Freebooter, just because it's really good to get that off the Eerie Ultimatum. It sets you up for the next turn after really well. Gets rid of whatever their answer was going to be to the ultimatum. But yeah, I think that is about going to do it for us here today. If you like what you saw, feel free to throw that follow, throw that subscribe. Yeah, I'm going to be streaming again on Monday for some more Magic. Usually we're going to be looking at Monday, Wednesday, Friday, about 2 o'clock to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is going to be the normal schedule for the Magic stuff. I have some other video gaming related stuff coming up on the channel too. But yeah, that is going to be it for the week. Have a good weekend, everyone, and I will see you again come Monday.